Hi, everybody. Welcome in. So I am so pleased to be here today. I am with my really good friend, Ebony from Kitimat, British Columbia, where I will be returning to shortly. I'm going to be leaving Mexico and going back to Kitimat. So there's a big surprise to anybody that didn't already know that. I'll be leaving in November and returning for the winter back to Canada. So Ebony and as you all can see on the right-hand side of your screen here, I've developed a 4-hour tarot card reading course. Now, Ebony took time and she listened to the course. She watched the whole video, and she is a seasoned professional tarot card interpreter and intuitive reader. She loves it. And so we are here to talk today about tarot cards, where they come from, why are they powerful? Are they demonic? Right? What's the folklore around them? All of the superstition. And we are going to go through now. I know that this is my our first recording in the series that we're going to do here. It's be comfortable, smoke them if you got them, just be who you are, you guys. We are super, super comfortable. So thank you, Ebony, for joining me today. I'm very excited to have you from beautiful British Columbia, Canada.
Thank you so much, Sarina, for having me. I'm very excited to be here. As soon as I saw that you were doing a tarot program, I knew I needed to reach out to you immediately and see if we couldn't collaborate on it.
Yeah.
Very excited. With your background in deep dive research, you really have a way of sniffing out the truth. Like a
Thank you.
bloodhound, do you find the details? So I personally have learned a lot, even though I have been working professionally as a
Mhm.
tarot reader for almost 5 years now.
Wow.
And I have a YouTube channel that we'll leave links for and stuff afterwards where you guys can go check me out and see free readings. We do all the moon cycles and stuff. So even though I work professionally and have for quite a while, I
Yeah.
learned a lot in
Mhm.
this program. So
Thank
that,
you.
I must say, thank you for doing the work that you do, Sarina, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, thank you. And that means a lot to me because I took a lot of flack when I first discovered this, the way that I see it anyways, because the person that I discovered it with was like you, a professional, had not like she doesn't do readings professionally as a rule, but she's been doing it her whole life, very magical, very witchy, very all these things. And she just was not happy with me at all. She's like, you can't go changing the things. I'm like, but look at the story. Like it's right there. Like it's like we can see it, right? So the fact that knowing that you did the program and the class and that it actually works and it makes sense, that means the world to me. That means the absolute world to me. And I am a believer that everything magical does not have to be scary or demonic. We are given tools, magical tools, and I use air quotes around that because so many people are misled thinking that anything that has power in it, crystals, tarot cards, divination tools. Yes, it does say in the Bible that you're supposed to be aware of the prophets and the whatever, but the Bible is full of prophets. Okay. The Bible has prophets coming out the wazoo, yet we're supposed to be aware of them and be scared of them, right? When it comes to the tools, the tarot cards were not around back in biblical times, guys. It was started out as a card game back in the 1400s, and it morphed into something that became the Order of the Golden Dawn, Eliphas Levi and Aleister Crowley. That's the secret society they belong to. It became a tool in 1909 to further their agenda. And as humans, what did we do? We ran with it because we didn't bother to question it. So a simple game of tricks and trumps like hearts, spades, euchre, that kind of thing, was then turned into something that was exploded into this thing of myth and folklore and superstition. And you can do this with your cards, but don't you dare do that or you'll rain generational curses. It's like, oh my goodness. So I did the deep dive into the origins because I believe in magic. I believe in the demigods and the gods and all of the things that we as humans have created by our own belief system, never mind what energies have originally started out, what entities are originally there, right? When we believe, we give power to it. It doesn't matter what the it is, that's manifestation. And we all just
Mhm.
saw that happen recently with Hurricane Helene. There is no doubt in my mind that the focus that we gave to that hurricane about diminishing it so that it would not that part, ravage that part of Florida. There's no doubt in my mind that collectively we had a part in that storm going away. There's
I
no
love
doubt
that.
in my mind. right? Because I every week on my Patreon, you guys. So, Ebony, can you tell me right now your website? So then my guy, Michael, my right hand, my earth angel, he'll put it up on the thing right away. And then that way we won't forget and people will have your website right there.
Yep. So you can find me on YouTube. You can just look up the name EBINOTTI. I've got two different channels, a beauty channel and a spiritual channel. So if you're looking for the tarot and stuff, you want to head on over to EBINOTTI Official on YouTube.
Okay. And can you spell Ebinotti for those folks that wouldn't know?
Yep. It's EBINOTTI. Like Gotti, it's naughty.
Excellent. So Ebinotti, because I know as us Canadians, we're a little bit, we tend to say I's like A's sometimes. So I just want to
Yep,
make sure people can find you. So,
for
and for
sure. Thank
myself, if
you.
anybody wants to find out about what we got going on, my Patreon, go to the store, buy a mug. I love you unconditionally, right? Even if you have to just tell yourself that every day, because it's really hard to be out there in the world right now when we don't even love ourselves, you guys. Come on, we got to figure this out, right? That's the key. We got more love. We just proved it. More love, more compassion, without race, without any, like no discrimination, no nothing. It was human lives that were at stake. Human and animal lives were at stake. That was all it took, right?
Yeah.
So
I think
let's
it's
love
so
each other.
powerful.
It is. And I'm also doing a series, just sorry, Ebony, I just want to throw in a thing here, that a little plug over on my YouTube channel, you guys, which is Divine Sophia 65. And I know Magical Michael will put that up on the screen. Over at my YouTube channel, Divine Sophia 65, which is also my website. So just add a .com to that. I am posting videos with Kathy O'Brien, who is a MK Ultra and Project Monarch trauma-based mind control sex slave survivor. I have met her now. She is the reason that I've been on this journey of exposing these P. Diddy's and all of these guys. And what people need to understand is that this started in the 1940s, everybody. It just continued from World War II. Okay. So we're in a moment in time right now where anything that we can foresee to protect ourselves from the evil that is going to come gushing out, we cannot stop at this time, and it can't be stopped no matter how ugly it is. So when we do things like learning how to use the tarot cards, they work because we believe that they do. And I've discovered a way that they can be used as a way, think of it as a way that your subconscious is speaking to you in pictures, right? Because Ebonati will tell you, she'll tell you when the person is sitting there across the table, it's not like when you're reading the cards, you're just like reading the cards. That where does that information come from when you have to relay it? You tell the people where you get the information from.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that we're starting in this place right now, even talking about whether or not tarot is satanic or demonic and where its origins lie. And I think you really hit it with the tool and the origin being just a game. I think, like any tool, like anything that's been created by man, it can be used for dark, it can be used for light.
Yes,
And when it comes
absolutely.
to faith based, when it comes to religion specifically, not spirituality, a lot of things are against God. And I can
Yeah,
understand that, but a perversion is a perversion. And I think that comes from within.
I
It's
believe that.
not about what we're holding, it's about the intention of what we're doing. So I always recommend to people that anybody can read cards, but do be careful with what you've got going on spiritually within yourself and who you
Yes,
allow to come into your space when you're doing that. So if you don't have a strong spirit, even myself, I've had seasons where I just knew it wasn't right to bring people into my energy,
yeah,
to allow people to bring their energy into my world.
yes,
So it's touch and go even with that. But like anything in life, healing is healing, support is support. And if you're coming from a heart space, from any power that you have, and you're just with the intention of giving someone the clarity they need to hear, the guidance they need to hear, you can trust the message. And that's
yes,
key
absolutely.
because a lot of people, especially right now that it's a very popular subject, tarot being demonic, famous people like Kat Von D have stepped out and said she's gone back to the faith of Jesus Christ and Christianity and believes that everything tarot is demonic. And it's like, okay, the goth queen of the last decades changed her mind, but I disagree. And I think there's satanic
But
play.
they do actually, they do have a point. Sorry to interrupt, but they do,
Yeah.
because the tarot card, the way that we know it today, the one that was released in 1909, actually was so that it could further the Luciferian agenda of the Order of the Golden Dawn.
And
But
I think
again,
that's
we
so
all jumped in on
brilliant,
it, right? But we
because
can
like
also
any,
wait,
whether
just let me
something, sorry, I
hang
get
on.
so excited. I get
I
so
know,
excited.
I know, but we can flip it, right? Because two people, the not Crowley then did his own deck later and changed a whole bunch of things. But
I
the two
saw,
people that
yeah.
developed the Rider White deck, though the Rider White Smith deck, which everybody is familiar with, and we'll see it here shortly here in the examples here. But everybody that knows that deck, nobody bothered to look at the origins of it, right? And it's very plainly out there. And what happens is that the demonic part is because it is to further their Luciferian agenda. But now that we know that, we can also use it as a way for the subconscious to talk to ourselves without any other intervention at all. And when you said Ebony about protection and energy, you guys, we cannot stress that enough. If you make an appointment, I don't care if it's 5 of you girls going off for a little bridesmaid thing and you're going to go get your cards read, and you guys, that card reader does not feel right, the location does not feel right, for the love of God, please walk away.
That's right.
Please walk away. And for you folks out there that are healers, you're Reiki workers, you are tarot card readers, you're divination tools, you're doing Akashic readings, whatever, understand that if your energy is not there, it can't be about the money. It has to be about the humanity. It has to be about the connection. So if you aren't feeling it, please don't harm us. And people will understand this, because I've had so many people that have said they went to a Reiki worker and felt worse afterwards. And that's because the Reiki worker was
Yes.
not in their energy. So I just wanted to point those two things out. And please go ahead, keep going, Ebony, keep going.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think you are absolutely hitting the nail on the head with the subject, because that's exactly what I wanted to express to people. Anyone can read tarot. We all have a different set of gifts.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can heal people, and there are people that can be healed specifically by you. The way you give the message, the way you set your energy, your intention, maybe you just got lucky with the timing. That's why I encourage people, if they are being called to learn something like tarot, learn it. Do not be fearful of any kind of dark play within the arena you're getting into. That being said, know what's popular right now. This new age demonic fun times in Hollywood, it's
Yeah.
very popular right now. Once
And
again,
very
just like the
old.
90s, they brought witchcraft back in a big way.
Yeah,
Now,
a
if
big one.
somebody evil creates something with the intention of it being evil, and all the world takes it as a light tool, does it still get to be evil? No. The creator does not get to do anything but write the book. The way the book is read and interpreted is up to the audience, the consumer, us. Okay, so
Absolutely.
that's my
And
belief right there. If it's feeling
anything can be used
demonic,
as good or
pray,
evil, right?
cleanse.
Like
Yes,
this is a good thing, or
anything.
it's a weapon of destruction. I can kill you with a toilet paper roll.
The
It's all in the
placebo
intention of
effect
the
is
user.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah, the power of your belief is real. You know, if your intentions are nefarious, you're going to get messages from dark entities. A
Yes.
lot of people that are ex tarot readers, ex self-proclaimed witches, etc., speak about that. You can go online and listen to them tell their own stories, talking about how they enjoyed exposing people's lies and deceits. They enjoyed the prediction nature of tarot. They enjoyed the power of being
Yes.
psychic and being able to destroy people's lives right then and there. They enjoyed the idea of cursing someone and seeing the effect of the karma play out in front of them. There's nobody in the light that wouldn't feel that as dark energy.
That's right.
So if you're
That's right.
unclear, you have work to do before you get into, you know, messing with other people's energy. It's a long process for some, and it's a very quick and easy process for others. And don't feel bad about where you're at. We
Yeah.
don't even really know our spiritual foundations and our ancestral roots yet. So, you know, don't be afraid when you get into it, but do be smart about it. This is not, you know, magic just for glitter and unicorns here. There's some real dark stuff going on. And if you don't know where you are on the ley lines and
Yeah.
who's playing with that power around you, you got to be very, very careful.
Absolutely. And people, for the love of God, don't don't dibble dabble. This is not the time to be double dabbling. Okay.
That's right.
And Ouija boards, for the love of everything holy and pure, please, people, stop using these things. Please stop using them. They're a tool if you are a serious practitioner that understands how powerful they are and that they need to be respected as a portal tool. There are too many things in this dimensional reality because people want to play with the Ouija board. They sit down, something happens, they freak out, and then they run out of the room. They don't close the session. Guess what? The next thing you know, your house is haunted and you have a poltergeist, right? So those of us that know, please, like, and I know, Ebony, you're the same way. It's like, for the love of God, you guys, this moment in time right now is not the time to dibble dabble. It is the time to figure out your strengths, and people can do that over on my Patreon. And I'll give you a chance, Ebony, if you want to, if you have something going on your own you want to plug. But over on my patreon.com/thehappyhealer, 3 times a week, on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, we do deprogramming to get you out of the hypnosis of the matrix. I get down to the imprints. We change your imprints, because if we don't get down to the lie, we can't get to the truth. We have to figure out what the lie is. Okay. So, and the lie can be anything from deep healing that needs to happen, unworthiness, feeling like you don't belong here, all of these kinds of things, that you're abused, unworthy, abandoned, whatever the case may be. It can be from there all the way up to, we practice our psychic senses. We're doing group energy work at the end of every session, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We do a group meditation / visualization that you can feel it. We all experience things similarly, so we know that it's working, even though all of us are spread all over the world, right? Mostly Canada and the US and me in Mexico right now, right? It's a beautiful thing, you guys, because you got to experience it to believe it. Open your mind. This is the time to open your mind, but be safe about it. Be safe about it. Understand that too many things are in this realm because people were dibby-dabbling. However, I'm going to say that 14 different times. Dibby-dabbling, doodle-doodling, whatever. They shouldn't be doing it. Don't dibby-dabble. Okay?
Schloop in the loop. That's what I call it lately. I don't know where these words are coming from, but I've been feeling the same vibe. Schloop in the loop.
Exactly, because none of it makes sense anyways. But that's why I love this, the way that I've done this tarot course, because once you understand where Ebony and I are coming from, how easy it is to see the path, and then the interpretation comes so much easier, right?
Yeah.
So Ebony, what do you think is, because we covered, make sure you protect yourself, right? We got to cover that. Make sure you protect yourself at all times. Step number 1. That's even written on the box of Ouija boards. Protect yourself, right? How do we do that? So, Ebony, I really would like you to tell everybody what you think is good for protection with tarot cards. I know the protection thing from a quantum energy healing perspective, but not from your experience.
Yeah, great. So I think when it comes to tarot, and we'll stick with the idea that anybody can read tarot, okay? I think the most important thing to start with is centering. You can call it grounding. I call it alignment as a divine feminine. We get into divine feminine alignment. But what it really comes down to is the safe space that we create inside ourselves. Sometimes this can require breath work and all kinds of tools that we use and modalities. On the other side of it, it's a very simple concept to lay protection for yourself around anything that you're going to do, especially spiritual energy work like tarot reading. You want to sit just for a moment. It doesn't have to be a full meditation, but you want to sit in your energy for just a moment and recognize the breath. After that, anything that you like to do, you can light candles, incense, you can pray. I do all kinds of things like that. If you watch me on YouTube doing my readings, this is the space that we do those readings in. So that's how I do it. I don't always like the same, it's not a religious kind of doctrine that I follow. There are a lot of people with a lot of different ways to lay their protection. So if you're curious or you're not kind of sure what's going to work for you, just look around, look at what other people are doing. The things that call to you are typically calling for a reason.
And keep it simple.
And I'll leave the smallest disclaimer that when we do tap into energy work or spiritual work and things like the tarot, where there's a lot of nefarious intention going on with that tool, we do have to be a little bit careful stepping into that space, because we don't always know what our spirit does. For example, I went through most of my 20s not knowing a lot of the spiritual gifts that I had, because I was so focused in the logical world of, being effective and good at life in the real world, I didn't focus as much on my spiritual gifts. And because of that, when I got into spiritual energy work, sort of the path opened in front of me and I walked it, the amount of power that came in, meaning everything from dark to light. So the
Yeah.
amount of temptation on the dark side
Yeah.
and the amount of overwhelming sometimes gifts that came in. It can be very touch and go when you are functioning every day out in the world. For example, I had a full-time job, I had a
Yeah.
new relationship, I was very busy socially,
Yeah.
which meant that everything was being learned on the go.
Right.
That's the
And
only kind of disclaimer that I'll leave for people is sometimes we don't know that we're a spiritual powerhouse. Sometimes we don't know that when we turn our light on, there's a certain kind of dark that's going to take note of that and come.
right.
You can't be powerful in dark or light without the opposition taking note. And that's the disclaimer I'll leave for people. Lay the
Yeah.
protections that are necessary to you. And if you start to get fearful in any way, you don't have to be afraid of your own fear, but recognize it for what it is. It is a part of you telling you that you're not ready or you need to know something before you move forward.
Well, yeah, yeah, or you've got an energy center blockage that needs to be addressed before you can go forward. So, and that's like a lot of people will say, well, I can't meditate, I fall asleep. Well, that's an auto mechanism. That's a defense mechanism, right? So, people that fall asleep during meditation, you got to deal with some emotional stuff, right? You got to deal with
Definitely.
some emotional stuff, but very important. So, protection can be easy. It doesn't have to be all crazy. You don't have to have 75 types of candles and crystals and all sorts of stuff. So I'm just going to give an example for myself, just so, to give people an example of how easy it is, and also to protect us while we talk about this subject. Because, folks, when you're talking about the other side, okay, I'll call it the dark side. I always call it the dark side and the light side. When you're talking about the dark side, they listen and then they try to mess with you, and they're super sneaky. They're super sneaky. And the duality of having to ask our angels for help and the demons can just do whatever the hell they want really upsets me, but that's a whole other conversation. So for me, I'm just going to call in right now. I always, the go-tos that I have are Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel, because even in the Pistis Sophia, Jesus himself calls in Gabriel and Michael for protection and to allow Sophia to escape. So if Jesus is calling in Michael and Gabriel, that's who I'm calling. Okay. So, and so far so good. They've never let me down. So calling in Archangel, actually, first of all, calling in all the angels, ancestors, guardians, and guides of Ebony and myself to be here during this beautiful transformative experience where we are speaking and learning, growing, and hopefully reaching many people that have interest in tarot and in their own intuition and expanding their horizons as we go through this beautiful ascendant process. Michael and Gabriel, I ask you now to come and protect us during this session while we talk about the darker aspects, while we talk about the things, the secrets, the lies, and the confusion. While we shed light on this subject, we ask you now that we are protected at all times from any lower density energies or negative thoughts, deeds, words, actions, curses, bindings, or spells that may come into play as we try to spread this news and get this information out there. Thank you, Michael and Gabriel. Thank you, angels, ancestors, guardians, and guides. And as always, asking the higher self of myself and Ebony to be fully present in this moment and come through us today so that we may have more knowledge and connection with ourselves. And it is done. Woo.
Thank you for that. I do enjoy a prayer.
Yeah.
I have been so big on prayer in the last year or so. It's almost been a little bit shocking how much my family's Christian roots have kind of come through my spirituality lately.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of, like we were talking about earlier, it's a bit trending right now. Is the tarot demonic? Are we
Yep.
all playing with witchcraft in a demonic way?
Well, and that's a great segue
Excuse
into
me.
getting into the cards here and the a bit of an overview of what I've figured out is because again, they were originally set out to further the agenda of the Order of the Golden Dawn, which is a Luciferian do what thou will philosophy. Okay. A lot of people do not understand the Luciferian philosophy. It is basically do whatever you want. There are no repercussions. You are a god. You can do whatever you want. There's nobody sitting there, making a checklist to make sure that you've been naughty or nice. That's all a fallacy, right? So that's where the Luciferian and those that understand who Lucifer actually is, the light bearer, the light bringer, he was God's golden child. He was his favorite before all of the shit, all their big fight happened. And now there's all kinds of dysfunctional family daddy issues that perpetuate through the human experience, right? So for me, when we talk about religion coming up and what is demonic and what is not, it really is important for people to get in touch with your emotions, your energy centers. Make sure that your chakras are clear. Make sure what you feel like without interference, because all energies are a frequency. That's why we feel that hairs go up on the back of our neck. Ooh, something's there. And you look, no, it isn't. Yes, it was. It absolutely was, because before we could see, we had our extrasensory perception. We think that we're seeing it in real time, but we are not. The sensation happens, and then a nano microsecond, millisecond later, it gets to our amygdala. Then it goes into our brain. Our brain does a file folder and goes, what am I experiencing? What am I experiencing? What can I put this with, right? It says, I don't know. So therefore, danger, 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 because I don't know what I'm experiencing. Hairs go up on your neck. You look, there's nothing there. That all happens in like even faster than that. So
I think that's so beautiful that you bring that up, because why else would they indoctrinate us with the speed of light?
yes,
If not trying to cap us at the speed of light. Like, what moves faster than light? Thought, feeling, and emotion moves as slowly as light. Think about that. That's such a potent ingredient to add to the world.
it is. And even manifesting, when we talk about manifesting, the point of manifesting, when you can match the emotion of having it with being projected into the future and having it be now instead of then, like later, right? That spark is the light. That spark, because you're right, it's the brain that creates, and then the spark is the light, which makes it manifest, right? So very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff, right? I
I
just
love
love
where
it.
we're
I love
starting.
it.
I
But
love it too.
it's important, and especially when we talk about who's talking about 5G anymore. Nobody. You know why? Because 5G is a very short. I've done a lot of studying about Sabrina Wallace, who brings us into the biofield, why our hair stand up, how we can do it ourselves. Like you can just
Unfamiliar.
push it up and get your hair to stand up on your body. That's your aura, folks. That's your electrical aura, right? That's what we need to protect, because the frequencies that we are under every day by holding, everybody knows. We've all felt it when you've held your phone too long and your hand goes numb and feels all weird, sometimes down to your elbow, right? That's the frequency coming off the phone that's affecting your biofield. So it's
And I
so
know I
Mhm.
didn't mean to interrupt, but I do want to bring this out for all the people watching. We've both talked about the show Avatar: The Last Airbender and how they break down not just the elements, but the energy pools within the body. Now, if you are the opposition to all things light, bright, human, feminine, and beautiful on this planet,
Yeah.
wouldn't you use those energy pools to shut them down so that they are not active, in full alignment and evolving, because that's what we naturally do. The only thing that stunts that is power, allowing
Yes.
power to come in and shut down parts of our system.
Well, and not understanding how powerful we are and allowing it to happen, right? And you know, Ebony, this was a conversation that I just had like this morning, maybe. Yeah, this morning, maybe yesterday. I don't know. Anyways, days are flying. Like the time is flying, flying. I know we always say that, but right now it's ridiculous light speed.
It's
It's crazy,
ridiculous. Yes.
right? So, but I was having this conversation and I said, oh, it was actually yesterday with my friend from England, and we were talking about NPCs, the non-player characters, and we're seeing them more and more, you guys. Okay.
Yes.
So, what do you do when you see one? Well, I think that what we're seeing is the representation of the evil, because there's so less. These people that are trafficking children, causing, never mind developing mind control trauma based systems, and every single one of us is under it every day, all day long. We're always under trauma, always fear, trauma, war, death, dismemberment, rape, whatever. We're under it all day long, constantly, 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 constantly. We can't be happy, right? So the people that develop those systems, okay, number one, no soul there. because they've got to do experiments to get to that. They have to think of that they have to think of how to harm a human being to get it to split its own mind and fragment so that it can build it back up and control it again, which is exactly what's happening to all of us every single day, just on a minor, it's not as invasive, but it's starting to be because too many people are addicted to their devices, right? So then we have that. Then we have the people that have to develop and implement the program. They're soulless too. How do they sleep at night? I couldn't sleep with myself. You guys, I have done this work on the MK Ultra victims going back to the 1940s. I'm on my 7th story. It is traumatizing what these women have gone through. Absolutely traumatizing. Anybody that is complicit in harming a child repeatedly over and over and over again, knowing damn well what they're doing and how much they are harming that human, beautiful soul, there's no other term for that but devil. There's no other term for that. This is what we are up against. This is what's going to ignite the religious war, because when the people understand that we as human beings are allowing this to perpetuate because we are turning our eyes away from it. That's why we're in this mess. Jesus was here 2,000 years ago. We are not getting it. We are further away now. We are more caveman and cannibalistic now, and murderous and lustful and sinful than we have been since Caligula's time. With the advent of porn, the sex trafficking, all of that, we deserve to be wiped out. We deserve a reset, because as human beings, we are big F minus. Big F minus. And all of this destruction that happened in the sorry, that felt weird. It was like a little like something tickled me on my shoulders. It was strange. And I live in the tropics, so I'm always worried about when getting tickled. I'm like, yeah, what's on me, right? Right. So sorry, where was I going with that? And then I'll shut up for a second. We'll take a minute. Oh, come on, that was really important.
We're right there.
Ah, darn it. Anyways,
no, we're right there. We were right there. I'm like, what is it?
It was, we've got to be really super ultra careful, knowing that the NPCs and what we're seeing right now with people that are coming, and there's more family death and murder and suicide happening, all of these things happening, you guys, that we're seeing the demons come out. We're seeing, because what they do, and I just want to say this one small thing and then we're going to move on. But when, I don't know about Ebony, but I know when I do my quantum healing work, sorry, I'm trying to find my camera there. When I do my quantum healing work, I can see lower density energies that are attached to people. I can see them from an annoying dark spot that attaches to their body somewhere, and I can see it and I get rid of it, no problem. It's bippity boppity boo, no problem, right? To actual entities that are freaking huge and enormous and dense and been there a very long time. I can see these things. I can see them. I don't see details. I don't see what their faces look like. To me, they are just energy, and they go in size difference and density difference, but they're always dark, and they're always harming whoever they are attached to, right?
And I think that's a really important thing to note, Sarina, for everybody watching, curious about energy work, tarot, and healing, is we really don't always understand not only our gifts, but the things that people are dealing with. So it is a little bit of a risky business. Like anything, when you are working with other people, there is the external factor. So I think, like Sarina's describing her gift, being able to see things in certain ways and really being able to focus on that. If you do have a gift, that is what your gift is for.
Yeah.
Anything that comes in and tries to take your gift, taint your gift, I call it abuse, perversion, and distortion. Distortion is what we all deal with. It is forgivable. Perversion is something that it's unforgivable but can be healed. Abuse is where we have fully crossed the line. This is stepping over the line of light and into the dark. Okay, so there's like a tier system here, and when you get into it with people, you're going to come up against all the tiers. And then, like energy workers, especially in the tarot, love to talk about every level you go to, there are new entities to be met at that level.
Absolutely. Well, and you know what, and that's perfect, because that was beautifully said. Because what's going to happen now is we're going to see these true colors in people. We're going to see the soulless ones, right? I don't know, air quotes, soulless ones, right? And we, us healers, us Reiki workers, us tarot card readers, all of us spiritual, New Age people. And I don't even like using the term New Age, but that more people understand what that means. I honestly believe that we are now in a caretaking phase, because all of a sudden healing just went away. You're not seeing anything on social media anymore. Nobody's talking about it and going and grounding and sitting and doing the breathing. Nobody's talking about it. Not seeing any of it. Not on my feed. I don't know about the rest of y'all, right? Okay, so you don't have it either. And so we are being silenced and suppressed. And we're already seeing an uptick in violent things, with the explosion of survivors coming forward now that this P. Diddy stuff is coming out. The survivors are telling their stories, and it's the same information over and over and over again. And what's going to make people fall off the edge is when they understand what is happening to babies and infants. Somehow we can get there. We can rationalize it to the point where we don't get pushed over the edge when it comes to a certain age, even though we can't. We justify it as a defense mechanism, a survival mechanism. But when we are talking the brutalization and torture of infants out of the womb, most of us, that's where our mama bear kicks in, and that's where our humanity kicks in, and we go, okay, somewhere there's got to be a line. There has to be a line somewhere. So where I think right now is where we're being shown the veil is the line. So we're being shown that to say, where's your line, everybody? Which team are you on? Because if you're not on team light, you're supporting that. There is no middle ground anymore.
There is no middle ground.
There isn't. And
you
it's
can't
not
serve
about
two masters. Everyone, religious, spiritual, or layman atheist, knows you cannot serve two masters, especially two opposing masters.
absolutely.
You pick a side, whether you realize your everyday actions are playing into one side or the other or not. We all have our balance, but
well, and we've got to be careful that we don't end up in a religious war, okay? Because I don't identify as anything. I don't. I just say I believe in a creator, and I know the story. So I believe so differently than most people. And anybody that's been following me for 7 seconds as the bathrobe lady, Divine Sophia 777, Divine Sophia 65 on TikTok. All of those accounts are gone, by the way, everybody. I got shut down. But you all know that I talk about Sophia and Jesus and Lucifer in a very different way than most people, and they still can't wrap their heads around it. And I do not believe in a God that would exclude people because they believed in Allah instead of Jesus. They're still trying to get to a place of enlightenment. Yes, some of their rules might not be that great. Okay, we might have a problem with it. But I think that everybody's road to the creator, to their source, to their divinity is their own damn business.
I love that.
I will not stand. Do I stand with Team Jesus? Yes and no. It would depend on who's leading the charge, right? Because I have that knowledge and information based on the Gnostics, the texts, everything that I've been through, the deception that I know and I'm aware of. That I would be like, again, I like the idea of it, not the human of it or the deity of it. I think that our souls will know. I think those of us that are clear, and we just try as hard as we can to keep our chakras clear, try to help humanity, be of service, stay in the light, heal ourselves, do our shadow work. Our souls are going to know. It doesn't matter what the deception will be, or the holograms in the sky, or the UFO showing up, or the whole Jesus himself and coming with the whole trumpets 9 yards, right? Who knows? We don't know. Because if the sky opens up all of a sudden and it's UFOs, we are going to see a lot of people lose their minds.
Yeah.
Lose their minds.
And I think that's what makes cinema and Hollywood so interesting. Not only do these people, the elites of the world, the powerful of the world, have access to the text that we don't. I think if you look at the stories they tell, not only is there, the obvious intentional indoctrination of abuse, perversion, and distortion, but underneath a lot of it, there's the very real desensitization to things that we wouldn't be able to handle otherwise.
Yes.
I myself am a very rose-colored glasses type of energy. I love to move through the world that way. And each one of these true Hollywood stories has really broken my heart, really been a healing process, emotional process that I had to go through. So I, for one, am very grateful, even if they continuously try to pervert me. I appreciate the heads up at, potential options, because I would never allow these people that, you know, completely hide and distort this knowledge to be the ones to teach me, I will
Yeah.
simply take. You know what I mean? They taught us really well how to play their games, to lie, manipulate, and whatever. And just because we didn't become like they did, the soulless, soul eating,
Yeah.
perverted, you know, baby eating types, was that not, did they not see that coming? Did they not realize I was going to happen? It's like, you train me, big bro. You know,
Yeah.
so the big brother government, I've got this whole thing going on the channel. If you watch my readings, you'll see I talk about Jesus energy being like big brother, Lucifer, Satan himself being our own demons created
Yeah.
with Lucifer, Satan in this realm. You know, this
Yeah.
is ours. And if we think that, well, we have inside of us, they describe the 5 aspects of the soul as higher self and shadow. Well, those two are your angel demon cousins right there. Like,
Yeah.
anything that you're going to come up against in the world, you have within you to fight.
Yeah.
Not to fight as a lesser, to fight, you know? So I always tell people, look, I really admire the brave ones out there who want to get into energy work.
Yeah.
It's just not an easy job. Don't think that this isn't going to be the biggest challenge of your life, because you're going to be challenged, you know? You're going to
Yes,
meet
ma'am.
your match. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to
And
want to be in the Olympics if you want to do this. If you didn't want to be in the Navy, the Marines, the Olympics, this might not be for you. This isn't something you just fucking hobby up, you know,
yeah.
throwing cards, or think about them throwing bones, you know, like these people used to read innards, not
Yeah.
just fucking tea leaves. So you got to be a little woo to get into this.
It is. And you know what? And one thing they don't teach you, nobody teaches you in quantum energy or Reiki 101. And maybe they do, maybe we just have to learn it the hard way. I can't remember, but I don't remember being covered, is knowing that we are carrying all of that energy ourselves, and we've got to take a break, because it seems like we get on a flow where the energy is out there, people are healing, so that energy is going out, that frequency is going out, so all of a sudden you're really busy, right? The next thing you know, you're burnt out. You can't feel one more feeling, because you're feeling your everything your client is feeling. That's, for me, that's what I feel. Because, and especially for people that have gone through extensive grief and trauma, they don't release it because it feels like it's too much. So I can get in there and assist moving all of that energy. And I cry just as hard as they do, because I'm feeling their tears, right?
Yes.
I'm blubbering. We got the ugly, snotty cries going on and things like that. But you're absolutely right. It's not for the faint of heart. It really is something that you've got to be willing to literally shoulder the emotions of the collective. Around Easter time and Christmas time, I'll be wiped out for days, just bawling my eyes out and transmuting energy for all the sacrificing going on, all the death happening, all of the rituals, and all of the horror, the loneliness. Never mind the black magic part of it. It's the season itself where everybody's reminded they don't have a family and that they're homeless and they can't eat turkey because they can't even afford a Happy Meal, right?
All temptation.
Right?
Yep, the season of temptation. Lust and
Exactly.
desire, overconsumption,
Yep.
abusing the temple. Yep, you better believe it.
Absolutely. And so the faster we can get people seeing outside of the religious box, right? Because that is so ingrained generationally into our DNA. It's in our DNA, especially as a Western culture. The Bible has been shoved down our throats for what, a couple generations now, a few, right? So we even have it encoded genetically. And some people would say, well, of course we have the code of God within us. Yes, we do, but not from a book written by man, right? And that genetic code, if you understand, all code has 4 letters. YW, what is it? YWHW, Yahweh, whatever it is. I think it's YWHW, Yahweh. It's in our own DNA code. So if we focus on that and ask for the information, well, it'll come. But
Yeah.
people don't, if they're sitting in silent contemplation, what are they doing? Scrolling, trying to be inspired, but they're not. They're just being depressed, right? Just falling into the, oh, I'm so tired. And we're all so tired. And I'm not saying that as a dig or a judgment, everybody. Oh my gosh, we are all so tired. The
Yeah,
last
that's
4
why we
years,
do this work, right? Because we
that's
get
right.
it.
But the lesson there is make sure that, as you said, it's very, very heavy work. So those people that work in energy, whether you're doing readings as well, because that person comes and sits across the table and goes, Bleh. Fix my love life. When am I going to be loved? What's my money looking like? What's my career going on? They want all of these really serious answers, and they just dump that energy into your space. And then we have to go at the end, we have to be like, all right, that's enough of that. Okay, wipe that off. Out you go. A little bit of smoke. Let's get some incense going, clear that out, right?
And
So
I
that
love
we don't
it.
end up depleted, right?
And I always felt that the cards were the buffer. So maybe for me, that's one of my gifts. And it's something I always tried to teach people that do this kind of work as well, that you can use your cards as your buffer.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I always described as being a bartender. I preferred bartending over serving because I had that bar between us. And for the
Yes.
whole night, I had my space.
Yeah.
Everything is within my space is contained. So any kind of energy work you're doing, whether it's a space within a larger space, set up a space. You don't have to pour salt in a circle. That's what we mean about making it up as you go. It's really going to be touch and go. And what you're called to do is what you're going to learn to trust. You're going to learn to trust your own guidance because that's what you need to do this work. You can read a million books, you can read no books at all, and you could be the best in the world.
Absolutely. You've got to, and that's what I love too about my courses, because it actually it makes people tap into their own intuition, right? Right. And especially for people that can't visualize. So using the cards this way to look at it, interpret it, you'll start. And when I work with people that can't visualize, I make them use their ESP. So it's really cool. I've got Michael, my right hand, and in my meetings, he never hardly misses any of them. He has the gift of being able to smell. So I love it when we do
Wow.
our group ones at the end, our energy work, because he's always smelling something, and it's really cool. It's really cool, right?
That's rad. I
Yeah,
love enhancing the five senses. I think that's a really powerful thing to get to know yourself and your gifts.
yeah,
Focus on the senses that call to you and see where they take you. I call it
absolutely.
pulling the golden thread. When you feel a feeling, an inspired thought, a sensation, you pull it, and you'll very quickly learn the difference between what feels natural and, from God or from your energy guides of the universe and what feels like it's trying to take you off path. Because there's no such thing as playing this game and not having an opposition.
Oh, for sure. And then again, but that's why it's so important to make sure that you're clearing your own energy. And I have a really cool little trick for that, that it's a beginner little trick until people get used to their own thing and can do their own thing. Okay.
Yeah.
It's really simple. So I work with dragons. I consider myself a Sophia dragon. I work with the divine feminine. I am here to bring back the divine feminine balance. Okay. So that's my job. That's my gig for anybody that doesn't know. I take it so seriously. I even have dragons tattooed on my hands. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Masculine and feminine. So what I tell my clients and what I tell my people in class is to put an egg around yourself. Okay. So if you imagine yourself having a clear egg just 4 feet above you, out to like about another foot or so outside of your arms, make sure you go underneath your feet, like get into the ground. Make sure you have actual, like, grass and dirt and whatever in your egg at the bottom. That can be your protection zone. That can be your shield that you put up before you go into the mall or you go grocery shopping or you have to go deal with that client or that you don't want to deal with, or you have to go to work or whatever. Maybe you've got somebody at home that's going through something and they come home bitchy. Put your little shield up when they get home. They'll still be there, but they won't bother you as much, right?
I do it to contain my own energy. I'm always
Yeah.
so scared to affect other people with my what I call my crazy. So I do it to keep my own energy contained because I can be quite influential. If
Okay.
I'm in a space, it's hard for me to kind of wallflower. And I mean, I did this to myself. I loved the flashy, and now here we are, right?
Well, and for you, Ebony, for people like that, because that energy is a lot, right? And like for people, what I tell people is that our human body is only this big. It's only this big, okay? That energy, and I know you personally, so I know the energy that you can bring to the table, okay? So Ebony comes in and she's all like, whoa, like I want to say this, I want to get it. And it can be good or bad. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? It can be whatever the case is, you want to get that out. Make sure that you are not, like, it's okay to sit in that energy because you're containing it, but send it into the ground. Make sure that it's going
Yes.
somewhere, you guys, because
Yeah.
that can be anger. You can do that with anger. If you're trying to control your anger, put your bubble up. Be like, okay, I'm going to be angry, and let it out within your bubble, but don't open your mouth because that's where we get in trouble. And make sure that, or funnel it into the ground. Like you can even picture a little hatch opening up or a little toilet or whatever. The earth takes that negative energy and turns it back into light and life. She loves
Yes.
it. She loves it. The
Yes.
trees and all of that have been here forever. They've taken every nasty thing and turned it back into life. Trust me, your anger emotions or your upset emotions or your overjoyed emotions, the earth loves it. It's food for the earth.
I
Okay.
always felt that way, especially with the trees in the last maybe 5 years of my life and my energy work. It's really been, I mean, I'm back up in northern British Columbia, Canada. So the mountains, the trees, the earth, it really does the most. And I
Yeah.
think for the earth, it's a neutral energy, like we couldn't taint up the earth with our energy if we tried. So giving that energy to the earth is like having a real conversation with someone you care about instead of great, I'm so
Yeah.
great, everything's so fine, don't ask me because I'm great. It's being honest and allowing people to come in. We
Yes.
give that respect to them, right? To let them be part of our thing. And I think with the earth, that's a great healing tool.
Yes, absolutely. Because sometimes we can't share our pain or our whatever our excess energy is, right? But the important part is get it out somehow. Talk to somebody, go see somebody, give it to the earth, right? Sometimes we even have, if we have a lot of grief involved with the heart chakra in the center of our chest, and you're able to, I know it's getting cold in some places, so this might not be your first choice, but if you can just lay down on your chest, you can even do it in your own home, right? Because it's all about your intention and none of this is real anyway. So if you're 18 stories up or if you're on the ground, it makes no difference, right?
I always said that. Yep.
Yeah. So lay down on your chest and you can actually ask the earth to take that energy out of your chest, take that grief out of your heart, take all of that pent up stuff, just the stuff. It doesn't have to be traumatic. It can just be life. It can just be stuff. And when you exhale, make a noise. So it would be like more along the lines of like you take a big inhale and then it would be ah. Allow it to come out, make a noise, vibrate the throat, get that energy moving, okay? Because energy
Yes.
is stagnant until it's observed. So that's why you'll see me snapping. That gets the energy going. Make that sound, get that vibration going. And if you need to, make it loud. Let your grief out, scream it out, get it out
Yes.
of your body. And we are going through a grieving process right now too, which is why I think the divination tools and the tarot and everything is very interesting timing right now that is coming back into the collective so strong, is because we are grieving loss of life that as we knew it, you guys. So many people right now are experiencing grief and loss just with the hurricanes, just natural weather alone right now. And that's not even just in the States. There's people all over the world that are flooding right now. It's horrifying. It's horrible. We have got all of the horrors of Gaza that we have been bombarded with for months now. And people are just, they can't even look anymore because what do? Right? Ever since social media, because everything is so terrible out there financially, we are seeing a lot more people begging for money. We are seeing a lot more animal rescues up there. We are seeing a lot more homeless people, veterans, that kind of thing. The things that pull on our heartstrings, almost to the point of giving us survivor's guilt, right? Because then we can't appreciate what we have because then we feel guilty that these people don't have what we have, right? So it's so important to be grateful for your own journey, right? Be super grateful that you are where you are, that you have a roof over your head, food in your fridge, clothing on your back.
Yes.
Like it's okay to have compassion for those that are doing their journey, but we've got to stop attaching it as such a negative experience. A lot of homeless people will tell you that they wouldn't have it any other way, right? It's the media and the representation that comes across that keeps us in that negative loosh bucket. It's a constant strain, a constant, because we can't even enjoy our own joy. We can't even enjoy our own abundance, our own gifts, our own grace of God, right? And isn't that the point? And it's really funny because I thought of something today that is actually going to make me quit smoking. I know it is. I don't think I'll be smoking by the end of this week. And what came to me
Ooh.
yesterday when I was meditating on my own habits, my own, what do I want to change when I come back to Kitimat and start over again? What do I really want to do? Do it right this time. Like really take the time that's been gracefully given to me to do it correctly, right? And when it comes to smoking and everything else, I'm like, I don't want to give to Lucifer what God gave to me. So if God gives me some abundance, like financially, I should be way more responsible about how I spend it. So why am I spending it on cigarettes? That's giving it back to Lucifer. God gave me a gift. Why am I giving it to Lucifer? That was for my own nourishment, my own love, my own support. It's the God telling me he's listening. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. Right. When I smoke, I am taking all of that poison and putting it into this incredible vessel given to me by God. And there's no way for me to give it back. I can't give it back. All I can do is breathe. And every breath I take is because of the grace of God. And why would I pollute it with Lucifer?
Wow, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah. So I think what we should do right now, Ebony, is it's been an hour about. I would like to end on this note. I think that was very powerful for people to think about as they go into the next part, which we will be talking about the major arcana. And actually, we already covered the history. I have nothing further to say. It was a card game that was turned into a divination tool by people that were Luciferians. We ran with it. Nobody ever questioned it, and here we are. So now we can use it for our own good. That's the Reader's Digest version.
That's the quick proco. And I think it's interesting that a lot of people read tarot using regular playing cards. Like the first time I ever interacted with tarot or had a reading, it was with a regular old deck of cards.
Yeah. Well, look at this drawing here.
Yeah.
You can still see it, right?
Yeah.
So look at this. See, and then because this was done in the 1400s, and then the French people brought it into like added more things because right they do that. So it's always got to be extra, right? We can't just have French fries. It's got to be with cheese and gravy, right? So it's got to be extra. French. Right. So the Parisian French would kill me for that statement, but the Quebecers will be like, of course, right? So
I love it.
Anyways, that's neither here nor there, the difference between Parisian and Quebec and French. But then the major arcana was added in, so they had more tricks, so that they had more higher cards that they could use as trumps to play longer, because it only went up to king, right? It went from ace to king. That was it. So they invented it. And then but it wasn't until these ladies came around, and I had heard a story, you guys, and I'm on my own little like Mandela time shift something. I could not imagine this. I can't pull this out of my ass. Okay. The story of tarot that I heard was that the first pope, which is Pope Joan, the first and only lady pope, okay, she ended up getting burned at the stake. They treated her very horribly. There's never been another female pope since. Her family, but it wasn't Pope Joan. That's not her name. It was like an Italian name. Well, she was Roman. It was an Italian name. And she was burned at the stake. And then 200 years later, her family came up with the tarot deck as a commemorative for her. That's who the empress is supposed to, the high priestess is supposed to be. But when you look at anything, I looked it up, that story is nowhere. I'm telling you that I read that story. It's fueled me for a year now. So what timeline did I jump to that I can't find that anywhere? And now all of a sudden it's Pope Joan? Bizarre. But anyways, so we jump timelines. There are no rules in this ascension, you guys. The magic is there. It's the intention of how you use it. So Ebony and I are going to teach you guys how to use tarot cards in a very short period of time with your own intuition, to tell your own life story, to help your friends, and to figure us out going through 2025, because OMG, we're just getting started. So Ebony, I'm just going to stop the recording, but you stay right where you are. Thank you everybody for coming in today. Enjoy all of us over at our channels. For myself, Divine Sophia 65 on YouTube and .com for the website. For Ebony, it's EBINOTTI Official over on YouTube, and all of her deets are over there as well. And we are both on TikTok, so you can find us on TikTok as well. We'll have all the deets in the thing. And you guys, you put your opinions in the thing below the thing, the comment section. That's what I'm going for. Anyways, thank you for joining us today, you guys. We'll see you in the next part where we cover the major arcana and the story of the tarot. And once you understand it, tickety boo, it is very easy to do. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today, Ebony. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarina, for having me. I can't wait to see you guys again.
You bet. We'll see you very soon, but you stay where you are. Okay. So thanks everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next one.